Okay, so tonight we are talking about heart health because guess what? February is Heart Health Month. And so we're excited that you're here if you're tuning in now or tuning in later because we have a very special guest, Susan Conn-Hood. She's a certified yoga and fitness instructor. She's also a wellness and whole food educator. And she is amazing. Like, I have known Sue for many years. She lives and breathes fitness, probably the fittest person I've ever met. So I'm really excited for you to get to meet her. She has been a fitness professional for over 30 years, and she has also been a speaker for people like the Breckenridge Women's Ski Team, for high school athletic groups. She's talked to the Palms Resort about food education and hydration. And she's also a writer. She writes articles for the lifestyle magazine called The Loop magazine and the Golden Quarter magazine. She's also still actively a weekly fitness and stress reduction professional and teaches proper breathing and movement and teaches hatha yoga. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to hear some expert advice from Sue. And so Sue, welcome to our call.
Welcome everybody. It's really a pleasure to be here and talk heart health.
Yes. So Sue, we're talking about heart health, and I know that as a fitness professional, you talk a lot about target heart rate, and a lot of people like, what is my target heart rate? So would you share a little bit more about how to find your target heart rate and why that's important?
Wow. Well, the most interesting when I used to be a fitness instructor back in the day, we'll go back about 30, 40 years. When I was a younger person, we used to always stop a class. We used to do an hour of cardiovascular, and we would stop the class about halfway through, and the teacher would say, okay, find heart rate, and we're going to count for 10 seconds. So you would come to your jawline and drop 2 fingers down here, and you would just count your pulse in your throat. Typically, you would probably reach a number between 20 and 23, 24. So you take that number and multiply by 6. So for simple math, 20 times 6 would be 120. So for my current age, between 60 and 65, 116 to 123 is ideal for me. Now, when I was in my 20s, the ideal age back then, or the ideal beat, was about 146 to 150. So you can see, even though you can maintain and be very, very healthy, your heart rate as age tends to decrease. So you have to also pick the type of exercise you want to do as well. So if you want to do moderate exercise, you know, that's good. Or if you want to do more vigorous exercise. And I think most people have to understand that you start with moderate and work up to the more vigorous. I think most people, if they get too carried away, that they can feel like their heart might be coming out of their chest. But on the other hand, you can under-exercise all the time. So it's finding that happy median. And the old tick and count, multiply by 6 is a really safe and effective way to find your target heart rate.
So what are the benefits? I know you said vigorous exercise. So obviously that's aerobic exercise when you say vigorous. So what are the benefits of aerobic exercise? Why is that important that we do that?
Yeah, as a fitness, I can just tell you that aerobic exercise is considered by most experts to be the single most important component of fitness. So studies have shown that people who do their continuous exercise will live longer, have a greater work capacity, and will reduce their risk of coronary heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. And in a nutshell, read this, it says, aerobic fitness can be defined as the ability of the body's cardiovascular and muscular systems to provide the necessary energy to sustain activity that uses the muscle groups over an extended period of time. So all that means in a nutshell is things like power walking, cycling, stair climbing, rowing, swimming. At an intensity level, you can maintain for a minimum of 30 minutes. 3 to 7 days per week is recommended. And the benefits, well, there are many. increasing the efficiency of respiration, of course, decreases your resting heart rate, and improves the efficiency of movement, helps to reduce adipose tissue, helps to fat, and it helps most people to reduce stress. And if you really exercise continuously at a nice level, it really helps you to sleep well at night too. So for many, many people, that's a big plus. They sleep better when they exercise every day.
Well, I know the heart's a muscle, so it's probably important that we flex that muscle a bit, right?
And it's interesting to note that the human heart itself weighs between 6 and 11 ounces, and it's strong enough to pump up to 2,000 gallons, as much as a fire department tanker truck, of blood to the body every day.
That's amazing. Pretty
That's
important to keep it healthy, that's
amazing.
for sure, right? What do you think
Absolutely.
the average heartbeat is for the average American?
The average American right now, about 70%, maybe 75% of the population, the average heart rate is 72. And if you go into your doctor's office, they'll of course can measure that for you. But 72 is the average heart rate. And with exercise, you can actually decrease your resting heart rate. For example, I can tell you that my resting heart rate is between 53 and 54, even at my age. And at night when I'm sleeping, it drops to 46. So
because you're in good shape. That's why.
Well, and I think because, being a child athlete and a school athlete, a college athlete, and just never stopping with the exercise, maybe that's really helped. And lower heart rate also can be hereditary. So I'm lucky to have both the exercise and perhaps the hereditary issues there as well.
Well, I know that you do a good job of working out every single day, so that's great. So what kinds of exercise do you recommend?
I think that most people, if you're talking about basic, believe it or not, exercise, we can break it into very moderate or very vigorous. And I think if you can maintain 30 minutes of exercise at an established heart rate that we talked about earlier, hiking, even garden work, dancing, walking or carrying a golf bag, something I love to do, and bicycling, if you're bicycling at less than 10 miles per hour, if you're just doing out walking like at a 3.5 mile per hour rate, and if you're weightlifting very moderately, considered exercise, you're getting your heart rate up. I had one man tell me, well, I grocery cart vigorously through the shopping mall, and I went, okay, your Costco at a busy time, I suppose that could be exercise too. Yeah. So it's a matter of just getting yourself up. Right. Well, he was pretty funny about the whole thing. But I think that if you can get up and be physically moving, and there are many studies that show that even if you can't get that 30 minutes or even 60 minutes at one time, if you can do 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, 10 or 15 minutes at lunch, even 10 or 15 minutes in the evening, you are increasing your heart rate periodically throughout the day. And that actually helps with raising metabolism. And people who don't have a lot of time, that can really help with just helping to burn extra calories and keeping your heart healthy as an organ. So there's always some way to fit it in.
Yeah, maybe don't park in the first parking spot, right? Park out and walk vigorously into the store.
Yes, absolutely.
That adds up.
And there's a merit with that. And okay, so all my ladies that I know that clean their own house and do their housework, vigorous housework is considering active too. You bet it is. Don't have to be just at a gym going huffing and puffing. Horseback riding is good exercise. Moderate, mind you, but it is still exercise too.
Well, it depends on how much you're posting. That could be really good.
True. Working out a little harder.
Okay, I know we had some technical difficulties with our Facebook Live, but I think we're on now. So a lot of the people missed kind of the target heart rate during exercise. We'll post the video later and the benefits. But so what about the over exerciser? I know for myself, I'm an driver personality, and I tend to be all or nothing and can be overtrained. So can you talk a little bit about the risk of over exercising?
I think what happens to a lot of people, if you're really continuously over exercising and over stressing, usually some part of your body is going to become injured at some point. And if you're continually getting your heart rate too, you can start feeling like you might vomit or you might be sick. And if you're gasping like that for breath, you're just not getting enough oxygen in, you can cause damage. And I think for overachievers like you, in some cases, is just trying to take it down half a step. And again, coming to that, trying to get your heart rate with the 2-finger test just for that 10-second, and just say, okay, if I can get it to this level, maybe keep it going for longer, make your duration for longer, as opposed to the intensity, if that's possible in your time frame. For example, if you're riding a bike, like you're an avid cyclist, for example, so tack on an extra 15 minutes of cycling instead of trying to go hell bent for an hour. Do an hour and 15 and 20 minutes and go just at a little bit lower pace, and that can help. And usually injury is what happens if you overexercise.
Right.
So,
and you stop losing weight too, right? I mean, if you're exercising to try to lose some weight, it can also shut that off because you start to burn protein instead of fat. Is that right?
Well, actually, yes, you can do that as well. It's recommended to try to go at a lower pace for a longer period of time instead of doing super vigorous for a shorter period. There's many theories on that, and I think for a lot of people, doing up to 90 minutes a day has really been the key number of showing that if you're doing 90 minutes a day and watching calories, you will tend to lose more adipose tissue or fat, if I may say it that way.
Absolutely, you can say it that way. That's why we all want to look good and feel good, right? Not just feel good. I mean, we've got bikini season right around.
Well, and that's right. And don't kill yourself or that, but there's time for that. There's a couple of months. And if you do the average, if you're just working, if you're 30 minutes of exercise now, try to step it up to 45 minutes. If you're doing 45, work it up to an hour. If you're doing an hour, hour and 15, hour and a half. I mean, working up towards minutes, even if it's not all at the same time, is a wonderful way to get your heart in better shape as an organ and keep your weight where you really would like it. So
absolutely. Could you maybe go back through the target heart rate one more time? Because we have people of all different ages and fitness levels. Could you just explain that maybe for the difference between somebody who's 20 and maybe somebody who's 60? You know, what would that look like as far as difference?
I have a duty little chart.
What's your...
Sure, absolutely. So what you can do is you can just come to your jaw, right where your jaw meets here, and take your 2 fingers and come down about partway down your throat, right across from your Adam's apple. And right here, that's where your carotid artery is. And you would just press 2 fingers gently there for a period of 10 seconds and take that number, probably it'll be anywhere between 18, 20, 22, 24, and multiply it by 6. Good heart rate for somebody of my age is going to be about 120 to 123. If you're 20 years old, you're looking at about 146. You'd like that heart rate to be higher. So you want to, and you can measure that in a spinning class. You can certainly take that yourself. The key that you have to remember with taking your heart rate is don't use your thumb, because your thumb has its own heartbeat. So you want to use the 2 fingers.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard. And I see a lot of people, you know, doing this at the gym. I'm like, okay, I'm wondering which heart rate they're getting.
Yeah.
maybe they're really high then because they're having both. I don't know. Anyway, so you talked about physical fitness, but I know a lot of people exercise and don't necessarily think about what they're putting in for their nutritional fitness. So would you share a little bit in your experience as to what you've seen for people that get into an exercise program because they want to be healthy and look better and feel better, that are eating healthy versus ones that are still keeping up some of the bad habits?
I think the most important thing that you can break exercise down is doing what we will call a pre-exercise meal. And first of all, that prevents athletes from feeling hungry and sluggish before and during, like a competition or a workout or even an event. And second, you need to maintain optimal levels of energy in the form of blood glucose for all those exercising muscles. So an ideal is going to be complex carbs, have moderate amounts of protein and small amounts of fat. And I personally have to tell you that I have found our Juice Plus Complete to really fill that energy need for myself and for hundreds of my customers that I work with. And the simple way is to I take half a packet of Complete and I add it to oatmeal in the morning with some plant milk and some fruit, usually banana or blueberries or berries, whatever fruit I have. And I mix that up and I have that about an hour and a half before I go to the gym, because I typically do 60 to 90 minutes at a time, possibly more. And as a post-exercise meal, when I'm done, I'll also take this Complete, the other half of it, add it to either water or a small amount of plant milk mixed with water. And so that third after your exercise, that's kind of the golden time, we call it. And that's to consume a protein and a source of carbohydrate. Again, it's your window to replenish all that glycogen that's lost. And what we find with our Complete, what's so important here is it's base protein. So it has all your essential amino acids, so it fulfills the protein needs. It's got plant-based carb in there, and it's also got some fiber to keep you full for longer and keep your level, which is key and critical. And it's also got a small amount of fat in there,
which is critical.
So for pre-meal and a post-meal, that's really help. And I love oatmeal anyway. Pushed on me as a child. I just make it taste better now. So that works in the morning.
So you see the people that are actually fueling their body for performance obviously have better results. Yeah.
Oh, always. And the worst thing you can do, a meal that's high in fat right before you go and exercise, is the absolute, it causes stomach bloating and gas and indigestion. So I always tell people, don't eat a freaking donut. Don't be eating like breakfast sausage or something like that. Oh, that's it. If you're going to be in competition or be doing a strenuous workout, that's the absolute worst stuff to have, is things that are high in fat and sugars like that.
So I know I see a lot of people that just go to the gym and get on a treadmill every day and they do the same thing, and they tend to get stuck with their fitness level. And you talked, yes, when you and I talked earlier, you were telling me how important variety of exercise is.
And I think that most people, if you can look at the workout list of what they offer, perhaps classes at the gym, and continuous exercise, the same thing, the same distance, day after day after day after day. Example, if you're a runner, no good runner is going to do 5 miles a day every single day, day in and day out, 7 days a week, because the risk of injury is so high. Knees or ankle are going to cause problems. A good running program starts with maybe 2 miles on Monday, 5 miles on Tuesday, 3 miles on Wednesday, 6 miles on Thursday, 2 miles on Friday. So it's always, your exercise should always be a little bit like an EKG. And that's the same in the gym. A spinning class is entirely different than a Zumba class, because you're sitting, mind you, you're spinning and working. But in a Zumba class, you're going forward and back, you're going on diagonals and sides, you have movement and change. And in a spinning class, it's very continuous, even though you're up and down out of seat. So those would be two different types. Swimming is a wonderful exercise. Most people don't swim, I don't think, enough. I mean, I think swimming is the best overall exercise you probably do. Power walking. So if you just take those 30 to 60 minutes every day and do a variety of activity, I think that's the best. Even taking the dog in the hills where you are, my friend, going up those steep hills if you have a pet and going up at a good pace, or take your bike and going up those hills where you live is really stressful. But you get to go down fast on the other side.
Yeah, it causes, when you do the right, it causes the muscle confusion, so your body has to adapt, and that makes you healthier, right? I mean, so important that you just don't get on the treadmill every day and do the same amount of time. So
yeah, exactly. It's the same amount of time if you can do shorter or longer, as I said earlier. And that's really the key, is just, and again, don't forget the old how to find heart rate, so you know exactly where you are.
Yeah. Now I know a lot of people in this group obviously are here because they eat Juice Plus. Our Juice Plus fruit and vegetable powders, our concentrated produce. Why is it so important to get those plants into our diets to be healthy, and especially to fuel our physical fitness?
Well, the recommended servings for athletes is really much higher than people know. I've talked to exercise science types out there in the field before, so I had the opportunity to meet with them, and we've discussed exercising in general. In today's, because people just don't eat the recommended servings of raw fruits and vegetables, most athletes now, they're recommending 18 to 20, up to 22 servings of raw fruits and vegetables. And we're talking professional athletes that are physically being active 8 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a day of almost continuous activity. Football players, professional, any kind of professional marathon, triathletes, anybody who's active for those many hours. And our Juice Plus provides a way to get all of those plant polyphenols and all the energy that plants can give you into an easy digestible form in our powders. And I have to say a big shout out, in particular when we talk about heart health, our dark berry blend has been proven to help with heart health as well. And then our new omegas reduce inflammation. So for those of us that are pushing a little bit harder in our exercise levels, it's wonderful to know that you can get plant-based oils that can help reduce inflammation and actually help reduce wear and tear on a regular basis. Helps you sleep better at night too.
Absolutely. And the exercise creates lots of oxidative stress. So you've got to have the fruit and vegetables in to eliminate that oxidative stress. And that's really the only thing that does. So it's
yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So super important that people fuel their fitness and with their nutritional fitness. You can't really be healthy without both. So Sue, you are amazing. And is there anything else that you would like to share with everybody before we go?
Well, I just would like to just add one little blurb here. And it was really just, let me see if I can find it really, just in a nutshell, if I can find it. So this is a little bit of word to the wise out there, everybody. It says, if you're not as active as you be, or you might be, take a moment to consider why. Maybe you're just not in the habit of walking, even when you're not going very far. So in your free time, it's tempting to sit down in front of the TV or sit in front of the computer rather than do something more vigorous. So get busy and tired and decide it's not worth it. However, when you think about all the serious illnesses that you can have that are prevalent in today's society, taking that 30 minutes of exercise every day can really help reduce that. And if I think take that stance and go, you know what, I can do 30 minutes a day. I could do 10 minutes, 10 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes at night. I can do 30 minutes a day. I think that would reduce a lot of the problems, a lot of the stress, a lot of the physical problems, and help people to sleep better and feel better.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to share with us tonight. I know I'm more motivated to get out there and get moving.
Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that it could be of help. So thank you, Reagan, for all that you do. I appreciate that.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much and good night.